chances are, if you're making chicken breast, there's a lot of things you're doing wrong and you don't even know about it. I'm gonna give you 2 ways to make the most perfect chicken breast of all time. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 101 series. I am your host, Farnum, and this is a series on my channel, More Seasoning, dedicated to breaking down the basics. That way you have a better overall understanding of how to cook and you become an expert in the kitchen rather than just following a recipe and not knowing why you're doing it. For those of you who are familiar with me, you're like,
yo, what's wrong with your voice?
Well, I went to the Bucks game on Sunday and it went something like this. So yeah, my voice is gone, but it doesn't matter because today we are focusing on my 2 bulletproof ways to make the perfect chicken breast every time. We are gonna do straight in the oven with a bunch of nice seasonings on top that's gonna give you a beautiful chicken breast. And we are also gonna do a pan-seared chicken, finish it off in the oven. And then we are gonna finish it with a beautiful pan sauce that is gonna take your chicken to the next level. Now listen, we have to go over a few things first. And before we do that, I do wanna let you know that I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to do both of these chicken styles later on in the video. But first, let's go over some misconceptions and some big questions when it comes to cooking chicken. The first is, does size really matter? So the short answer is yes, absolutely. Size does matter when it comes to a chicken breast, and I'll tell you why. On this end of the chicken breast, you can see that it is significantly thicker than this end of it. Now, what's gonna happen when we cook it, if we cook it just like this is gonna finish way before this is. If you've had a dry chicken breast before, you know by the time this end is done, this is dry, it's flavorless, it's stringy, it's awful. So I'm gonna show you the process and how we fix this. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this under some plastic wrap and we're going to bang this flat. We're gonna hit it with a rolling pin and get it all to the same thickness so it all cooks at the same time. Now enter the non-organic chicken breast. Now let's go and do a size comparison real quick. As you can see, this is considerably bigger than the organic one. And the reason is this is pumped with steroids and antibiotics and hormones to make these gigantic. So yeah, you get more bang for your buck, but I don't think it's as good for you. And also the issue comes in with this thickness because yes, we're gonna pound this flat, but that means that we're also gonna have to pound this down. And the issue is when they're super thick like this and you start to pound it to the point where it's the same thickness the whole way through, it really messes the texture up. I've tested it, I've noticed. So if you can, spend the extra $2 or $3 and try to get the organic one. It's probably gonna be better for you and it's gonna come out a lot better. Should you wash your chicken? Welcome to the great debate. Every time I film a video on my channel when it comes to cooking chicken, everybody in the comments is always like,
oh my gosh, you did not wash your chicken.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why you shouldn't wash your chicken and I'm going to prove it with science. That way we can settle this debate once and for all. The CDC, the FDA, the WHO, they all say that you should not wash your chicken. And the reason being is that when you wash your chicken, you are potentially spreading microscopic pathogens all over your counter, all over your cookware, all over your cutting board, all over yourself because it's transferring in water droplets that are splashing. Now let me tell you why washing your chicken is futile, because all of the bacteria and these pathogens that can make us sick that you're trying to wash away in the sink, they're so deep into that chicken that you could wash your chicken 1,000 times and you're not going to get rid of them. They're so microscopic, they are so buried into that chicken that there's nothing that you can do. For the people that are like, I soak my chicken in vinegar and salt, let me tell you why. Also, it does not work, and here's the proof. It is not an acidic enough environment to kill off all of these pathogens. So do yourself a favor, save yourself some time, save yourself a headache, and save yourself from potentially getting sick, and stop washing your chicken. For those of you who are scared when it comes to handling raw chicken, just wash your hands after you touch it, wipe the counter down after you use it, and you're gonna be good to go. Now that I've offended most of you, let's talk about temperatures. So everybody knows, in order for me to eat this thing safely, I have to cook it to 165 degrees. And that is a complete lie. And let me tell you why. You cook this to 165 because that's the temperature that everything in here dies instantaneously. What they don't tell you is you can actually cook this to 155 degrees and hold it there for just 47 seconds, and it will also kill everything in here instantaneously after those 47 seconds. What it also does is it makes the texture better, and you're also gonna retain a ton more moisture, making a way juicier chicken breast. But there's only one way that we can really monitor that and know that, and that is our next subject, thermometers. All right, thermometers. There's a million of them and they're all different, so which one do we use? We got a probe monitor here, and let me tell you the biggest issue with the probe monitor. It's accurate, it works, but in order for you to use it, a lot of them aren't oven safe, so you're gonna have to keep opening and closing the oven, and it takes a long time to register. So what happens is you let all that hot air out of the oven, and then your chicken takes so much longer to cook. This, no go. Next, we got the instant read thermometers. These guys are loyal to the soil. They're really good. The only problem is, very similar to the probe thermometer, we have to keep sticking it in and opening the oven up to make sure we hit the right temperature, and that lets all the hot air out, therefore making this cooking process a lot longer and inefficient. Lastly, we have got my new favorite, I'll never turn back. I discovered this in my last Steak 101 series, and this is basically a Bluetooth thermometer. You put it into your chicken, right into the middle of it, and you pop it in the oven, and you don't open the door, you don't take it out until it tells you it's done. You have an app on your phone that gives you the exact temperature, the exact degree that you need to get your chicken to. It's the most efficient way to cook any kind of steak, poultry, or seafood. I love this thing. I'm never looking back. Hey, it's time to talk about carryover cooking. Okay, so what the hell's carryover cooking? Carryover cooking is basically when you pull your meat out of the oven, it's gonna continue to cook and go up in temperature internally. They'll tell you online that, you know, if you cook a piece of chicken in the oven and you pull it out, it can go up by 5 degrees internally. So that means if you cook it to 165, it's actually gonna cook to 170. What they don't tell you, because, you know, they probably don't have a Bluetooth thermometer and they can't check it, is that when I cook chicken in the oven and I pull it out, it goes up by 15 to 20 degrees. That means if you cook your chicken in the oven and you stick it with this guy and it reads 165 and you pull it out, you're actually probably cooking your chicken more around 180 to 185 degrees, which means a dry, tough, stringy piece of chicken that nobody wants to eat. All right, at this point, you're probably like, dude, enough with the numbers. What do I cook my chicken to? In short, cook it to 145 in the oven. Pull it out and monitor it. I promise you, it'll exceed 155 degrees, no problem. Everything that's harmful in here will be dead, and you'll have amazing texture on your chicken breast, and it will be packed with amazing juicy flavor. Let's talk about brining and resting. All right, we're gonna cover resting. Real simple. We pull the chicken out of the fridge, we let it come to room temperature for 30 to 45 minutes, and we get a nice even cook inside, and we're not dealing with any cold chicken. Now there's brining. Me personally, I've tried them. I really do not see a difference. There's wet brining, which is soaking your chicken in salt water for a few hours in the fridge to overnight. It's supposed to hydrate the chicken with salt and make it more flavorful. I don't notice that big of a difference. Then there's also dry brining, which very similarly, you just cover your chicken in salt, you rest it in the fridge for some hours, and apparently that's supposed to make it a little more flavorful and juicy. Again, I don't see a big enough difference in order for me to spend several more hours in the process of prepping it. So if it's up to me, pull your chicken out, let it sit for 45 minutes and warm up. That's it. All right, last topic we gotta cover is pans. Okay, so one of the biggest questions I get is, what kind of pan do I use? There's non-stick, there's Teflon, there's stainless steel, there's cast iron. In short, if we're gonna do the pan-seared chicken, I'm gonna show you how. I suggest you use a stainless steel pan. A lot of people are scared of this, but I'm gonna show you the perfect way to cook it. It's very, very easy. The reason I don't suggest cast iron is because we're going to make a pan sauce after we finish the chicken in the oven, and cast iron stays very hot for a very long time. That stainless steel is gonna cool down, and it's gonna allow us not to burn all of our ingredients in our sauce. Hey, without any further ado, it is time to cook our chicken. Let's go. First thing we're gonna do, preheat that oven to 450 degrees. It's getting hot in here. Let's go. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is make our rub for our baked chicken. You can do all different kinds of ones, but this is mine personally, and I roughly do about a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of black cracked pepper, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of smoked paprika, half a tablespoon of chili powder, and then we mix. Next, we're gonna hit both sides with a little bit of avocado oil. I like avocado oil because it's got a very high smoke point of about 500 degrees. So therefore, we're not gonna get any smoking going on. I'm gonna hit both sides with a nice liberal coat. We're gonna hit half of our seasoning on the first side. Rub that in. Then we're gonna flip and repeat. Just hit that second side, rub that in. All right, first thing we gotta do is pound our chicken out. Grab some cling wrap. All right, I low-key forgot to pound this out because it's almost already even, but I do wanna demonstrate the process. So we just put that on there. Then we're gonna cover it with another piece. Go ahead and seal off the edges so we don't get any splatter going on. All right, then we're gonna take a rolling pin and we're just gonna smash this thick part until it's the same thickness as this end over here. And now we have the same thickness all the way through. Now it's gonna go back on the pan. We're gonna put the thermometer in the thickest part of the chicken. All right, so we're about to put our chicken in the oven. As you can see, it is 69 degrees right now, and we are gonna get it up to 145 in our 450 degree oven. Let's go. So we set the oven to 450, and as you can see, now it's only 371 degrees. So we lost nearly 80 degrees just by opening the oven and putting the chicken in. So you can imagine how much we're losing if we have to continually probe that chicken while it's in there. The Bluetooth is the most efficient way. All right, we are at 145 degrees and I'm gonna prove to you that you do not need to cook it more than that. So we're gonna pull this out. All right, and we're officially at that 155 degree mark. And it has to be here for 47 seconds, but guess what? It's just gonna continue to go up. All right, so we pulled this chicken out about 4 to 5 minutes ago, and we pulled it out at 145. It went all the way up to 164, which means that it went up almost 20 degrees. So therefore, if you're cooking your chicken to 165 in the oven, chances are you're hitting 185 to 190, and that's why your chicken is not juicy and tender. All right, it has officially been out of the oven for 10 minutes, so it is time to cut this open. Let's go. All right, so let's taste test this bulletproof baked chicken. I'm not kidding when I say that this thing is literally dripping with juice. I know you see it. I know you see it dripping, and that's just from cutting it. So let's give it a taste test real quick. It's crazy. You can do whatever seasonings you want on here. If you got a favorite chicken rub that you got, put it on there, but oh my God, literally just tears apart. Let's go ahead and jump into recipe number 2, our pan-seared chicken. We're gonna finish in the oven, and then we're gonna hit it with a pan sauce. This is so damn good. Let's go. All right, we're gonna preheat our oven to 375. Let's hit our prep work before we cook our chicken. We're gonna thinly slice our garlic. Next, we're gonna finely chop a medium shallot. Next, we're gonna do about half a teaspoon of thyme and half a teaspoon of rosemary. All right, let's beat this chicken until it's even. All right, next we're doing a nice coat of salt and pepper on here. Go ahead and tap that in. Next, we're gonna take our pan on medium-high heat. Next, we're gonna coat the bottom of this pan in some avocado oil. Why avocado? Because we got a very high smoke point, 1 to 1.5 minutes on each side. Pretty side first, let's go. Hey, if you wanna avoid an oil mess from it popping and sizzling, I got a splatter guard link down below. Goes right on top, prevents that mess. All right, it's been about 1.5 minutes. Get some nice coloring on there. I turn the heat up a little bit to medium high, that way we could get a little more of a sear on this one. All right, so we pulled it off after about 2 minutes on the bottom side. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put that thermometer in there. All right, so our chicken's about 120 degrees. We still need to get it up to 145, but we don't wanna burn it. So all we're gonna do is just take our chicken, we're gonna put it back in here, and then we're gonna put this into our oven. Just like that. All right, so our chicken just peaked past 145. It's a little smoky bokey in there. Pull that out. So all of the harmful things in here that we need to cook at 165 is nullified. It's all dead and it is good to go. Again, look, we're still climbing. It's been minutes. Pull it out at 145. So I wanna show you guys something. We're gonna make this pan sauce, but the most important ingredient in this pan sauce is this right here. All of this left over on the bottom, that's all flavor. That's what we call fond. The stuff that is stuck to the bottom of the pan is our friend. So the first thing we're gonna do is throw our shallots in there on a medium heat. You can add a little extra oil to it if you want, just to get a little more lubrication in there. And then just go ahead and we're gonna cook those shallots for about 2 minutes until they get nice, translucent, a little bit browned and aromatic. All right, after about 2 minutes, We're gonna go in with all of our garlic. We're gonna cook this garlic until it's aromatic for about 45 seconds to 1 minute. All right, right after we add that garlic, don't forget to add a little bit of red chili pepper in there. All right, and after about 1 minute of that garlic, we are gonna add about half a cup of white wine. We're gonna do about a 1/4 cup of chicken stock. And then we're gonna add our rosemary and our thyme. We're just gonna mix that in. And we're just gonna cook this on a simmer, on a medium heat, and let this reduce. Okay, so a little lesson real quick. When we added that white wine and that chicken stock, that's called deglazing. So all of that fond that was stuck to the bottom of the pan has now released into our sauce. All right, so it's been about 4 or 5 minutes. Once your sauce starts to look almost like a little gelatinous, that is when we're gonna add the juice of 1 lemon. Gonna rehydrate that just a little bit. We're gonna mix that around, and then we are gonna follow that right up with about a 1/3 stick of cold butter. And all we're gonna do is we're just gonna swirl that butter in. It's gonna make a nice, glossy, beautiful finish, and it'll come together perfectly. All right, as you can see, our pan sauce is done. And if you look right in front of that chicken, there's literally a stream of juice. Let's cut into this thing, let's plate it, let's test it, come on. Here we go, taste test for our pan-seared, oven-finished chicken with the beautiful pan sauce. Somebody call Gordon Ramsay and tell his ass, I'm on the come up. The chicken falls apart in your mouth. A little bit of that lemon bites through. I can eat this whole shit. There you have it, my 2 bulletproof ways to make chicken breast perfect every single time. At the end of the day, both of these recipes can be mixed and changed, and you can look up all sorts of different pan sauces and chicken seasonings. The method is all that really matters at the end of the day, and what you need to know is that when you finish it in the oven, pull it out at 145 and it'll take you right past 155. You'll have tender, incredibly juicy chicken breast every single time. If you made it this far, hopefully you learned something and hopefully you are enjoying the content. So please scroll down and hit that like and subscribe button if you have not yet. Drop a comment below. Seriously, I wanna know what you guys wanna see next on the one-on-one series. Salmon, rice, well, I'll do anything. Let me know below. Hey, I appreciate y'all. My name is Farnum. This is More Seasoning. This is the one-on-one series, and I'm out. Peace.